Introduce another one of my colleagues, Sister Sharon Howell. Sister Sharon wears several hats here at the university. She's our parent liaison, she's our university ombudsperson, and she's also assistant dean of students. And you'll have lots of opportunities today to interact with Sister Sharon. So I was going to say, I know she's here somewhere. Sister?
Good morning, everyone. This is going to be our opportunity for the rest of the day to work together, creating the partnership that we find so valuable between parents and the people that support our students. We think this is a critical relationship, and this is the day we begin to grow that. Hopefully, all of you received a parent packet. We'll be referring to that, and I'll have some extras out in the hall. But what I want to do is, first of all, since I mentioned it, focus your attention on it. And inside, you will find a parent planner. I'm going to ask you to take that out, because one of the things that we'll be focusing your attention on is the opportunity to take notes all day with the note pages that are in the back. But the other reason I wanted to focus your attention on it is we've just found out, after our first session, August, for some reason, had an editorial snafu. And so there's no August 14th for some reason. However, that doesn't mean that the date doesn't, it still exists. We still have to do August 14th. But the rest of the calendar, I think, as we understand it, is okay. So we just want you to know that we're aware that there was the editorial snafu. All of us are going to be responsible for taking care of August 14th. It's just not in the planner. Hopefully this will be a resource for you throughout the year, and we ask you to hold on to it. Just want to refer also to your name tags. You noted from Karen's conversation that your schedule's on the back of it, and this is a parent schedule designed for you. But I'd like you to take it off and pull it out, because on the inside, we want to invite you to answer 3 questions. The first one is, would you evaluate this experience for us? We have found, as I just told you, to be critical to hear from you about your experience and what you found went well and what didn't go well. We've also wanted to offer you an opportunity to sign up for our Parent Network electronic newsletter, or parent newsletter. It comes out monthly from August through June. And then we also offer you an opportunity to get more information about the Parent Network, and you'll meet some of the members of that program this afternoon at the reception. It's a great opportunity to get involved on campus. So those 3 questions we hope you will say yes to. So, getting back to the planner, back of the sections, notes page, we're ready now to move into our first presentation on academic expectations. And I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Terry Langen, who is the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and Dr. Chris Bunton, who's the Associate Dean, and they will talk to us about what we hope for from our students.
Good morning. And thank you, Sister Sharon. My name is Terry Langen. I'm the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm about to begin my 23rd year here at St. Thomas. Can't believe it. Most of those years I spent in the Department of Economics, where I taught and eventually became department chair before moving over to the dean's office several years ago as associate dean, and then last year as dean. I wanted to give you a little bit of that background just so I could say that over those 2 decades, I've seen many students come through here and benefit from the core curriculum that you heard about in the first session this morning. It really is important part of the St. Thomas education. With me today is Dr. Chris Bunton, who is Associate Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and also the former department chair in communication and journalism. But on behalf of all the faculty and the academic staff, not only in the College of Arts and Sciences, but also in the School of Engineering, the School of Education, School of Social Work, and the College of Business, we would like to welcome you to St. Thomas. We are here to talk to you this morning about the academic expectations that we hold for your students, and to enlist your aid in helping us to convey those expectations to them. Your students will have an opportunity later in the day to hear this message on their own from other members of the faculty, but that shouldn't be the last time that they hear this clear and consistent message. They should hear it from us, and they should hear it from you over the next several weeks leading up to the start of classes, and probably even over the next semester or two, as a reminder of why they're here. After we've finished with our presentations, we'll be happy to take any questions that you might have about academic life at St. Thomas. In addition, a real important opportunity later today, if you don't get all your questions answered this morning, over the lunch hour there'll be an academic information fair with many of the department chairs present to ask or to answer any questions that you might have. So, in making a list of the academic expectations that we have for your students, first and foremost would be that your student needs to take primary responsibility for his or her own education. Okay? Your student needs to take primary responsibility. Please allow them to do that. It may be difficult for them at first. They haven't had that same responsibility up until now. It might even be difficult for you because you have had that responsibility up till now. But you have to trust that they can do this now without you. You're going to be tested along the way. You'll be tempted to step in and try to solve their problems for them. Please don't do that. Okay, so I said you're going to be tested along the way. You'll probably be tested over the lunch hour when your student tells you a little nervously that he's going to be meeting with an academic counselor this afternoon to discuss the first semester of classes without you. But please put on a brave face, even if you're not feeling like it. Put on a brave face and say, don't be nervous, it'll be fine. Because it will be fine, because meeting with your students will be trained professionals from academic counseling who will help them with their schedules. And just a little secret between you and I, and we don't have to share this with our students. In a college career of 33 courses, there's virtually no way to mess up choosing the first 4. Okay. It gets harder later on, but the first 4 are pretty easy. So it really will be okay. Just out of curiosity, could I see a show of hands from those parents for whom this is the first child beginning college? Oh my goodness. I really shouldn't tease. I was in that same boat not too long ago, and now I'm the proud parent of a college graduate. 1 down, 3 to go. Thank you. We'll clap for you on graduation day. The one advantage, though, I had over you back when I was starting out with a college student is that I was very familiar with all the people and the resources that a school like St. Thomas has available to assist your students, if only they will seek them out. And that's the tricky part. We got to get those students to seek out those resources when they need them. First and foremost are going to be the professors, one of whom will be likely assigned as their academic advisor. They very much want to see your students succeed if only they're willing to make an honest commitment to their own learning. In order to take responsibility, it's important for your students to understand their place or their role here at St. Thomas. I would like to stress that your students are not consumers of a good. They are not buyers, and we are not sellers, even though we will send you a bill from time to time. St. Thomas is not a mail order company, for example, where you can pre-order a degree and have it ready and waiting for pickup. Your student's going to need to show up, come inside, and be prepared to stay for a while. They will be deeply engaged in the production process for themselves of this good called education. We'll provide them with the tools they need. That production will take place in the classrooms, in the laboratories, and the music ensemble practice rooms. It will take place in the library filled with resources, in the auditoriums with guest speakers, and in the late night study sessions in the residence hall. It will take place in the service learning opportunities, in the internship opportunities, and the study abroad opportunities. The recurring theme there is the word, of course, opportunity. And as it suggests, your student needs to be prepared to take advantage of those opportunities and take an active role in their education. The hard thing for some parents to find out is that they don't have much of a role anymore to play in the success of their student. You have done just about all that you can do to get them where they are today. And congratulations, by the way, on getting them to where they are today. But now it's up to your student. What you can do, what you should do, is you should be supportive and encouraging of their learning. Please ask your student about his or her classes. Maybe take an interest in one in particular. Sort of follow along during the semester. What are you reading now? What are you learning? What are you talking about? And listen to what they tell you. Let them know that what they are doing is important, but remind them that they are the one that's doing it. It's their education. At the end of their 4 years at St. Thomas, our most successful students will tell you about the mentor relationships they've formed with professors, including the work they've done together, maybe papers they've written together and presented at conferences together. They will speak of the close relationships they've formed with the librarians who have taught them how to do research and the Writing Center staff who have taught them how to present their ideas. They will speak of the relationships they have formed with community members through service learning projects and with people from around the world through their study abroad experience. And most importantly, they will tell you about the ideas they've encountered and how those ideas have changed how they view the world and changed how they live in that world. They have come to view their education as having been created through a partnership between themselves and the faculty and staff that they worked with along the way. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Like Dr. Lang and I've been here a while. This is my 20th year at the University of St. Thomas, so I've taught a lot of students. So from a professor to parents, I want to tell you about academic expectations in the form of 3 Ps: pickles, pina coladas, and prizes. And it's okay if at this point you're thinking they pay those professors too profusely if that's the best they can do. So let's talk about pickles. I think it's tempting to view selecting a college as similar to buying lunch. You're driving down the street, you see signs for a variety of fast food joints, tacos, pizzas, burgers. What will it be? Oh, this one looks like it serves up what I want, so let's pull in here and order up a major in biology with a minor in French and a side order of study abroad. Nope. College is not fast food. We don't do drive up. We don't hand out a one-size-fits-all degree. What we do is help your students learn how to think critically and how to ask questions for the rest of their lives. And to do that, we need your students not to be passive consumers, but to be our partners in learning. So I don't want your student to stand passively in front of the counter memorizing the menu and deciding what to order. I want your student to leap over the counter and roll up her sleeves and get in the kitchen with me. And I don't want your student, once she's in that kitchen, to say, just tell me how many pickles we put on the quarter pounder and I'll memorize it and you'll give me an A. What I want is your student to say, let's talk about why we put pickles on the quarter pounder and the McChicken, and why don't any of these sandwiches ever have carrots? And where did these cucumbers come from anyway? Could we make a fresher cucumber? Because these are kind of vinegary and stale. Or better yet, I want your student to say, what is it with Americans and food, and why do we expect everything to be served to us in 2 minutes? What does that say about us? In other words, your student will get the most out of this college education if he's encouraged not to drive up and place that order, but to be curious enough to get in that academic kitchen and be our partners, so that active learning will occur all around St. Thomas, and we want you to help us encourage your student to take advantage of that. And that may mean doing individual research with the biology and chemistry professors in the lab, or out on Minnesota's lakes and streams. Maybe it will happen in service learning opportunities when we'll send your students over to Cristo Rey Jesuit High School to work with college-bound first-generation high school seniors on their communication skills. Maybe it will happen in an honors seminar room where we'll ask the students to lead the discussion rather than to memorize principles. And maybe it will occur all around the world on study abroad. Please help your students have an open mind about all of these experiences and learning activities that may challenge the way that they are used to mastering material. So your student does not intend to be a teacher. That doesn't mean that that experience at Cristo Rey High School won't make her a better communicator in the work world later. So your student doesn't intend to be an international diplomat. That doesn't mean that that study abroad experience won't be very valuable, given that we are living in an increasingly smaller world. And here's a tip for parents. When your student comes home in November and says, "Oh my gosh, I want to go on this January term study abroad course to the Middle East to study Islamic art," the correct parental response is not, "What are you going to do with that?" The correct parental response is, "I heard what they said about the importance of study abroad and broadening your horizons as a well-educated, liberally educated professional for the 21st century. That's a fabulous idea. Now, what summer job are you getting to help pay for that?" Pina coladas, my second P of academic expectations. You may have guessed that this is a plea that you help your students learn that college is about more than alcohol and parties. And if you can help your students learn that, we'd love it, because college is about more than alcohol and parties. But that's actually not what these pina coladas are about. These pina coladas are about you being a bartender and a party giver. I want to illustrate my point by telling you a story about a student whose name actually was Patty. A few years ago, she was in my first semester course as a freshman, and she was doing very well. And she came to me one day, and she said, "Dr. B, I've got good news, and I've got bad news. And the good news is that my family has planned a big vacation, and the family had planned the cruise to end all cruise in the Caribbean over Thanksgiving. But it wasn't just over Thanksgiving. It was for about 10 days. And she was going to miss about 4 days of different classes in that week in the lead up to Thanksgiving. And she said, so that's the good news. The bad news is, I know when you handed the syllabus out on the first day in September, you said we had an exam on Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And I also know that I read the policy, and you're pretty clear about the fact that unless we're sick with a documented note from the health service or we're dead, we're not going to get a makeup exam in this course. I'm doing really well. I think maybe I found my major field. I might like to study further in this field, but what am I supposed to do? I turn down my family, or I stay and take the exam. And what I'm asking is that you not put your student into that situation. I'm suggesting that for this very brief moment, and 4 years is a brief moment in the life of an adult, that you perhaps let some of those family obligations take a back burner status, and that you help us send the message that this academic experience here is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and the student should be on campus, in class, and in the library, and in the computer labs, working on learning as much as possible. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that family activities are important, and if you offered me the chance to go off in dreary old November on a cruise ship and gave me, sunshine and little drinks with umbrellas and those sorts of things, I might love it. But the fact is, we plan our academic calendar well in advance, and in that wonderful purple planner that you've got, you'll see that we're always in session through Wednesday afternoon before Thanksgiving. We may not know what to do about August 14th, but we know about Thanksgiving, and it's only Thursday and Friday off, okay? Spring breaks, same way. Those are planned well in advance, and we know. So simply, if you could, help us send the message that academics matters at this stage of the student's life, and particularly in this first year on campus. Finally, my third P, which is prizes. College is not kindergarten soccer, and everybody will not get a trophy simply for showing up. They may feel like because they came to my 8 o'clock class they should get a trophy, but they're not gonna. The reality actually is that college is the place for students to start learning the very difficult life lesson that effort does not always equal excellence. Some of your students will roll up their sleeves and be active learners in that academic kitchen that I talked about. Some of them will forego some family activity or social opportunity and go to the library and sit there and write the paper and read those materials. But they will not all get A's. And here I'm asking that you not swoop in and try to change your student's grade when your student didn't attend class, or your student didn't take the quiz, or your student didn't write an excellent paper. Help us send the message that it's not about the grade, it's about the learning. It is possible that a student gets a B in a course and still learned an incredible amount of information. So maybe ask your student about what they read, or what question puzzled them, or what idea really blew their head open, even if they didn't get that prize of the A in the course. We'll try to send all those messages too, but we hope that you'll be our partners in setting those academic expectations. And thank you very much for sending us your students.
We'd like to now try to answer any questions you might have about the academic side of things here at St. Thomas. You'll have lots of chances all day long to ask questions. If one of your questions is better answered at a later session on student life or finances or something like that, we may just tell you that. But in addition, if you have a really specific question about a particular major or something, I would probably point you to the noon information fair, when we'll have lots of department chairs out there to talk to you. But for now, feel free to ask anything that you might have on your minds. One thing that people usually have on their minds, so I'm going to go ahead and ask this question anyway, because we always get it. The question goes something like this. Yeah, well, I'm paying the bills around here. Does that mean you'll send me my students' grades? The answer is no. And there's two reasons for that. One is the federal government has bestowed upon your legal adult student certain privacy rights, including the right to control information on their grades. Perhaps a better answer than that, sort of from personal experience. I remember when my son was, my oldest son was going to college. It's like, what are the grades going to be? What are the grades going to be? What are the grades going to be? And then I dropped him off and went home. It's like, I wonder what he's doing now. I wonder if he's meeting people. I wonder if he's happy. How's his roommate? You know, how's the food? I had all these other questions, and grades sort of took a back seat. You know, so even if you could call up an associate dean and say, what are my students' grades? You couldn't call up the associate dean and say, and is my student happy? And how they get along with the roommate? So where are you going to get that information? You're going to get that information from your student. So I would really encourage you to have good communication with your student. Yeah, occasionally slip in the question about grades, but I think you'll find that's not always your top concern, especially in this first year of college. Who has the second question? Chris, do you have a question?
Active learners, ask questions, be curious. Nobody heard me. Oh, no. Oh, I know. I bet you want to know, can my student go on study abroad as a freshman? Right? And or when should my student be planning for study abroad? Right? Because we all want to go on study abroad. It's a fabulous way of learning. There is a freshman opportunity, Theology 101 in Rome in January term, this January. They can find out about that at the Academic Information Fair at noontime if they're interested in that. And that course is tailored specifically to students just finishing their first semester of college, unlike some of the other study abroad courses, which are working with students all the way up through senior year. If your student already knows that he or she might like to study abroad for a semester or a year, certainly the best thing is for the student to tell that to the first year advisor. the faculty advisor that they're assigned, and they can begin working on that as a goal. There is no program on campus that does not have some possibility for study abroad. So a student could be a biology major, a student could be an engineering major, a student could be a communication and journalism major, a student could even be an economics major and go on, I say that for his benefit, as an economist. A student can go on study abroad as well. We have a wonderful array of the short-term programs over January, many of which are led by our own faculty, and there's always a whole menu of those which are posted every year in March or April for the next January.
Sister Sharon's telling me we're about done here, but I want to get in one more question that we usually get, but you are being way too polite here, not grilling us. Oh. Are students required to take a J-term or one of the J-terms? Perfect. That's exactly the question I was going to answer. Thank you. The question was, are students required to take a certain number of January term courses? And the answer is no. But let me talk a little math here. In order to graduate, they need 33 credits, or excuse me, 33 courses. If they took 4 courses a semester for 8 semesters, that's only 32. So somewhere that 33rd course has to come up. Sometimes it's a January term course, sometimes it's a summer course, sometimes it's an overloaded semester. Or in fact, some of your students already have their 33rd course covered with AP credit or PSEO credit or college in the school credit. So are they required to take a January term course? No. Do most students end up taking January term course? Yes. I'd say in a given January, not because I don't know the exact numbers, I'll say about a third of our students are studying abroad somewhere around the world. About a third of our students are on campus during January taking one course, very intense schedule, lots of hours in the classroom, lots of homework each night, but it'll be a course, it could be any course. It could be a course that satisfies a major field requirement, a core requirement, or just an elective. And maybe the other third are at home working hard, earn money, helping with the tuition in spring semester.